Y'all welcome to Stone Church Moonshiners, where we keep the tradition alive and share the craft of good old handmade moonshine. If you've ever wondered how to make your own batch of shine, you're in the right place. Today, we're walking through the entire process, from choosing ingredients and making your mash to fermentation and distillation. So grab a jar, sit back, and let's get into it. Before we start brewing up some magic, let's talk about what you'll need. At the heart of it, moonshine is simple. It's just fermented sugar that we distill into high-proof alcohol. Here's what you need. Equipment: a large pot or fermenter, 5+ gallons, a heat source, stove, propane burner, or electric setup, a food-grade bucket with an airlock, a still for distillation, a hydrometer to measure alcohol content. Ingredients: cornmeal or cracked corn for traditional mash, sugar, white, brown, or molasses for added flavor, water, clean, unchlorinated, yeast, distiller's yeast or bread yeast for fermentation. Once you've got your setup, it's time to get cooking. Let's start with the heart of moonshine, the mash. This is where your flavor and alcohol potential come from. Step 1. Heat the water. Pour about 5 gallons of water into a large pot. Heat it to around 165 degrees, not boiling, just hot enough to break down starches. Step 2. Add the corn and sugar. Slowly stir in 8 to 10 pounds of cornmeal or cracked corn while keeping the heat steady. Stir constantly so it doesn't clump. Once the corn is mixed, add 5 to 6 pounds of sugar. This boosts alcohol production during fermentation. Step 3. Cool and add yeast. Let the mixture cool down to 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 to 27 degrees Celsius before adding yeast. Add 1 to 2 tablespoons of distiller's yeast. Stir gently and cover it with a lid and an airlock. That's it! Now we wait for fermentation to do its thing. This is where the real magic happens. Fermentation is when yeast eats up the sugar and turns it into alcohol. How long does fermentation take? Let your mash sit in a dark, warm place, 70 for 5 to 7 days. You'll see bubbles and foam. That's yeast doing its job. Once the bubbling stops and the mash clears up, fermentation is done. How to check if it's ready? Use a hydrometer. If it reads below 1,000, fermentation is complete. If you don't have one, taste a little. If it's sweet, it's not ready yet. Once fermentation is complete, it's time for the fun part, distillation. All right, this is where we separate the good stuff from the bad. Distillation is all about heating up your mash so the alcohol evaporates and then condenses into high-proof moonshine. Step 1. Transfer the mash, strain out any solids, and pour the liquid into your still. Step 2. Heat it slowly. Start heating your still slowly, not too hot or you'll burn the mash. Alcohol starts evaporating at 173 degrees Fahrenheit, 78 degrees, while water boils at 212 degrees, so we're aiming for that sweet spot. Step 3. Cut the heads, keep the hearts. The first 5% of what comes out, called the heads, contains methanol. Do not drink it. The middle part, the hearts, is the good stuff. This is your smooth, drinkable moonshine. The last part, the tails, is lower quality. Some people keep it, some don't. Boom. You just made your first batch of moonshine. But before you go sipping, let's talk about safety and proofing. Before you drink, check the proof. Use a hydrometer. Good moonshine should be between 80 to 150 proof, 40 to 75% alcohol. Final tips for a better batch. Use quality ingredients. Your moonshine is only as good as your mash. Go low and slow on the heat. Rushing distillation ruins the taste. Store in glass jars for the best flavor. That's it, folks. You just made your first batch of moonshine. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more distilling tips, mash recipes, and fermentation tricks. And let me know in the comments, what's your favorite mash recipe?